When we hear of the word abundance, most of us think of money. More income, more security, more comfort, more options, more freedom. And to be fair, money matters. It matters a great deal. A lack of money can create real suffering. It can limit access to food, shelter, healthcare, rest, opportunity, and peace of mind. So this is not a video about pretending money doesn't matter, but it is a video about something else. The possibility that abundance is bigger than money, much bigger. Because if money were the whole story, then every materially successful person would feel inwardly rich. And clearly that is not how life works. Some people have plenty of money and very little peace. Plenty of possessions and very little time. Plenty of status and very little love. Plenty of stimulation and very little meaning. So today, I want to explore a deeper question. What if the richest life is not just the one that has more, but the one that is rich in the things that matter most? Modern life often teaches us a very narrow equation. More money equals more abundance. And sometimes that's true, at least up to a point. More financial stability can reduce stress. It can create breathing room. It can create open doors. But somewhere along the way, many people discover something surprising. You can increase your standard of living without increasing your quality of life. You can buy more things and still feel empty. You can become more connected digitally and less connected humanly. You can fill your schedule and starve your soul. Because human beings do not live by income alone. We also live by attention, by trust, by belonging, by beauty, by purpose, by rest, and by love. By a sense that our lives are not just busy, but meaningful. And when those things are missing, no amount of material upgrade fully solves the problem. You can have a bigger house and less ease, a nicer phone and less focus, a better title and less joy. So maybe the question is not just, how much do I have? Maybe the deeper question is, in which ways am I rich, and in what ways am I starving? Let's widen the meaning of wealth for a moment, because money is only one kind of resource. There is also time wealth. Do you have enough margin of time in your life to breathe, reflect, rest, and notice what matters? There is also attention wealth. Can you actually be present? Can you listen deeply? Can you enjoy a moment without being dragged away by constant distraction? There is relational wealth. Do you have people with whom you can be real? People who know you, support you, challenge you lovingly, and want your good? There is inner wealth. Peace, resilience, gratitude, clarity, a mind that is not always at war with itself. There is moral wealth, integrity, trustworthiness, the quiet strength that comes from living in alignment with what you believe. There is creative wealth, the capacity to imagine, make, solve, build, express, and respond to life with freshness rather than just habit. There is spiritual wealth, if we want to use that language, a sense of wonder, depth, connection, reverence, the ability to experience life as meaningful, not merely mechanical. And once you start seeing wealth this way, you begin to notice something profound. Some people who do not look wealthy by cultural standards are rich in ways many affluent people are not. And some people who look successful on the outside are quietly bankrupt in the hidden currencies of life. This is not a romanticization of poverty. Real deprivation is real. It is simply an invitation to see that abundance has many dimensions. And if we ignore those dimensions, we may spend years building a life that looks impressive, but does not feel deeply alive. So how do we become poor in the midst of plenty? One reason is comparison. Comparison can make almost any life feel insufficient. No matter what you have, someone seems to have more beauty, more success, more certainty, more money, more ease. And comparison can distort reality, making what is already good seem like not enough. Another reason is speed. When life is too rushed, we lose access to some of the best forms of abundance. We stop tasting our food, we stop noticing beauty, we stop listening well, we stop inhabiting our own lives. Then there is distraction. If your attention is constantly fragmented, even a beautiful life can feel thin. A distracted mind often lives in emotional poverty because it never fully receives what is already here. And then there is confusion. We confuse luxury with peace, busyness with purpose, success with worth, possession with fulfillment. And maybe most of all, we forget that the human heart does not only want more, it also wants depth, wholeness, belonging, reality. It wants to feel that life is not slipping through our fingers while we chase a horizon that never arrives. That is one of the great tragedies of modern culture. We can spend so much energy increasing what we own that we neglect what we are becoming. So what does real abundance feel like? Not perfection, not constant pleasure, not a life free from grief, uncertainty, or limitation. Real abundance feels more like enoughness with aliveness. It feels like having space in your spirit, like being able to enjoy a simple moment, like not living in constant hunger for the next upgrade. It feels like a conversation where you don't have to perform, a morning where you can actually breathe, work that means something, friendships with honesty in them, a mind that can rest, a heart that can appreciate. Real abundance is not always glamorous. Sometimes it looks like enough sleep, enough stillness, enough courage to tell the truth, enough self-respect to set a boundary, enough gratitude to notice the life you already have, enough love to share what is good. And strangely enough, many of the richest moments in life cost very little. A sincere conversation, a deep breath, a meal with people that you care about, a walk at sunset, a sense of purpose, a moment of forgiveness, a moment of wonder. This doesn't mean we shouldn't seek financial stability. Of course, we should. It means that if we only seek financial wealth, we may end up poor in the places that matter most. So how do we grow a richer life? First, we can start asking better questions. Not only, how can I earn more, but also, how can I live with more presence? How can I become richer in friendship? How can I cultivate more peace, integrity, gratitude, and meaning? What kind of life am I building? Inwardly, not just outwardly. Second, we can also protect the forms of wealth that are easy to trade away. Protect your attention, protect your rest, protect your depth, protect the relationships that make life real. And third, practice gratitude, not as mere sentiment, but as perception. Gratitude does not say, everything is perfect. It says, even here, there is goodness worth noticing. And finally, remember that some forms of abundance grow through generosity. When you offer presence, you become more present. When you offer kindness, kindness becomes more alive in you. When you share encouragement, meaning, or wisdom, your life becomes richer too. Abundance beyond money is not only what you keep, it is also what you can receive, embody, and give. Maybe the deepest wealth is this: to have enough material support to live with dignity and enough inner depth to actually live. To have enough structure to be responsible and enough freedom to be human. To have enough success to contribute and enough wisdom not to confuse success with the soul. Maybe abundance beyond money is the art of becoming rich in the invisible treasures that make a life feel whole. Rich in attention, rich in love, rich in trust and peace and purpose, and rich in wonder, rich in the ability to be fully here. Because in the end, no one wants merely to own more life. We want to live more life, receive more of it, share more of it, wake up inside it. And perhaps that is the real invitation. Not just to build a life that looks wealthy from the outside, but to become someone who is inwardly abundant. Someone whose days are not just full, but meaningful. Not just impressive, but alive. Not just successful, but rich in the things that no market can finally price. If this reflection resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's one form of wealth that matters deeply to you beyond money? And if you think this video could encourage someone else, please like, subscribe, and share it. Thank you so much for being here. And as always, may we keep growing in wisdom, compassion, and a richer way of being alive.